The presidential candidate of the ruling All Progressives Congress, Senator Bola Tinubu, also continued on his campaign trail today in Kaduna State, in essence, kicking off his campaign in the Northwest region. At the Ahmadu Bello Stadium venue in the state capital, he promised to eliminate bandits and kidnappers if elected into office as president. Now, before the rally today, Senator Tinubu had visited one of the epicenters of banditry in the state, Buhari local government area, where he sympathized with the emir and the people of the emirate over the attacks.
The greatest God Almighty that brought you here to acknowledge our party, to remain loyal to our party, you will never regret it. Inshallah, all those troublemakers, violent kidnappers, killers, all troublemakers who are cross the security of Kaduna, I assure you, we will eliminate them.
So let's take a look at the APC's Northwest campaign strategy and what's in it for the people. After all, that's what matters at the end of the day. We have joining us on the program tonight, Honorable Alhassan Doguwa, who's a majority leader, House of Representatives, who's a member of the All Progressives Congress, incidentally, from that region, the Northwest. Good evening, Honorable. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Good evening, my brother, and good evening, Nigerians. Thank you for having me.
Right. Let's start off with, the most important for the people. I'd like to know, really, what would you say is the selling point of your party, by extension, your candidate, Senator Bola Tinubu? And this is amidst all of the challenges that the people of that region has faced. So, as the party that has been in power for upwards 7 years, both at the national and the state level for Kaduna, what is your selling point? What are you selling to the people?
I think this is a straightforward question, my brother. When you ask me what do we have to offer Nigerians, especially in the area of security, which our candidate has just mentioned when he was in Kaduna this afternoon, you just have nothing to contemplate that we have a lot to tell Nigerians, especially our zone. In the first place, when you talk about Northwest as a zone, it is one zone that you can call a politically responsible zone. This is a zone where you have the most populous state in the federation. This is a zone where we have all along been called as people of ideology, people that do politics based on principles and commitment to the fact that we do what we think is right. And if we must sell any point to our people, especially in the Northwest, is the very fact that, oh yes, Nigeria as a federal system of government, over the 7 years, Nigerians have conceded the presidency to the Northwest through our own father, the father of the nation, who is a member of the Northwestern political space, Muhammadu Buhari, who is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria today. For me, in politics, it's all about give and take. Give and take in the sense that the northwestern part of the country, right from Jigawa, Kano, Kaduna, Katsina, Zamfara, and Sokoto State, have taken our shot in the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So as a zone of responsibility, as a zone where you have unprecedented politicians who matter, then we are indebted to the nation to pay back. This is one major important point that we have to sell to our people, that yes, the northwestern part of this country has taken its shot through our good president, President Muhammadu Buhari, and it's time for us to pay back. And when Muhammadu Buhari came in for the presidency of this country, we can always remember clearly the kind of contribution, the support, the kind of interventions we have received from other zones of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, most especially the southwestern part of the country, where the Yorubas come from, where Bola Tinubu came from. So, as a matter of morality, political morality, as a matter of political responsibility, and as people who believe in ideology and the principles of give and take, we want to tell our people in the first place that we must have to pay back in the same coin. This is one good point. Then secondly, when you are talking of deliverables, you can remember clearly when the state of Nigeria was almost ungovernable in terms of insecurity, left, right, and center, especially in the northeastern part of this country. The northwestern part of the country was also not spared. I can still remember clearly when you cannot get out of your own house, you could not come out of your own house to the marketplaces, to the farmlands, to the schools, to the churches, or to the mosque where you observe your prayers because of serious threat of insecurity. In Kano, for instance, the central mosque in Kano was almost condemned and attacked by people. People were massacred because of insecurity. At least one can get up to say with his head above the shoulder that yes, President Muhammadu Buhari, through the APC policies of security and programs of government, we have been able to minimize the extent of threat in terms of insecurity. Of course, you still have some pockets of problems around, but the fact remains is that Nigeria is now better in terms of security. If you look at the northeast, where things were quite
yeah, you can land on that point. You were talking about the northeast quickly.
Yes, if you look at the northeast, for example, when it was almost ungovernable, some number of local governments, about 12 of them, were out of the control of the Nigerian armed forces. They were taken over by the Boko Haram people in those days. That was when the PDP was in power then. Muhammadu Buhari took over the security of this country almost on its knees. But I want to assure you without any fear of contradiction that with the dexterity and the kind of experience of President Muhammadu Buhari and with the good policies of the APC government, that has become history in the northeastern part of the country. You can believe with me that you don't have an inch now, an inch or a step that is no longer in the hands or under the control of the Nigerian armed forces. That has become history.
Well, Honorable, that's just on that point you made, if I can comment now, Honorable.
And Kano.
On that point you made that no inch of the nation's territory is under the control of terrorists. Just a few days ago, the Speaker of Borno State, Abdul Karim Lawan, said that 2 local government areas still need liberation. He mentioned them, Kuzamala and Kukawa, saying that there is no security presence and it's under the control of Boko Haram. Those are the words of the Speaker of the Borno State House of Assembly. So that contradicts clearly what you're saying, being a man who is on the ground, and he's on record to have said that. But when you talk about the Northwest, now this is a region that has faced its fair share of security challenges. I think what will be fresh in the minds of many is a recent attack, on the train attack. People were killed. Lots of people were abducted. I mean, the train service is just trying to pick up yet again. And that's a major one for a lot of people. So when you say that it's a give and take situation, some would ask, I mean, what more can the people really give after the support they have given to your party, seeing their indices right now? And I'll just add to that, the challenge of out-of-school children because of time. Let me just pack it together. UNESCO, UNICEF has said that Nigeria has between 18.5 million to 20 million children and youth out of school, and 70% of them are in the north. And this is another recipe for insecurity, poverty, and all of that. So quickly, before we move on to the next point, what's the plan to tackle that based on your party's manifesto?
All I'm trying to say, no matter what the Speaker of the Borno State Assembly said, that could have been maybe a recent development. But you can agree with me on a sustained basis that the security of that region has improved to a significant extent. There could be maybe a recent development, which of course that will be tackled as well. But the fact still remains that our security situation in the country has been improved significantly under the control of the APC government under President Muhammadu Buhari. And when you are talking of the Northwest, for instance, of course our population matters. Of course our complexity matters. The level of illiteracy, of course, is there. But I want to assure you that we have raised that to a very impressive level, to the extent that through universal basic education of places like my state, Kano State, where you have a governor who has declared primary and secondary school education compulsory and free, then we have gone far in trying to really ameliorate the problems of school dropouts or non-school children. And I believe some other states like Katsina, Kaduna, where you have the digital governor, El Rufai, has also picked. If you are talking about the level of our education, whether at universal basic level or at secondary school level, even at the tertiary level, we have had a very significant improvement in that area. And the fact is that Muhammadu Buhari cannot be expected to have done everything at the same time. 8 years tenure of office cannot be enough to put back the messes and the problems we have encountered during the PDP misrule. We need much more than 8 years to finish all those things. And the fact here remains that you now have another Buhari. You now have a master strategist.
Well,
you
Honorable,
now have a master planner.
It's interesting you say
who can think ahead of time. Somebody who is connected internationally. Somebody who has an example of a good rule and a good government when he was the governor of Lagos State.
Right.
Somebody
so when you say that 8 years is not enough, pardon me,
so the belief is that APC now to be taken over by Asewaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu will definitely consolidate and build on the gains already made by President Muhammadu Buhari. It is a gradual process.
Let's move on now, Honorable, because of time.
Those of us in the National Assembly, we have done our bid.
Honorable Doguwa, I'll need to come in now because of time. And when you said that 8 years is not enough, I wonder if your party were to win yet again, you say maybe the time is not enough, because these were terms and conditions that you did not tell Nigerians originally when you were campaigning pre-2015 that, you know what, 8 years would not be enough. But I'd like to speak to something that touches at your person and by extension your party. You recently in a video asked people to vote for APC or you deal with them. And those were your words. You spoke in Hausa language. But interpretation is that you sort of swore and said that on election day, the people must vote for APC or you will deal with them. And I'd like to know, why did you threaten violence on the electorate in such manner?
My good brother, that is not a threat. And we never threaten our electorates. What you don't know about Kano State is one very special political space. We have our special semantics in politics. We have the shenanigans we use during campaign and electioneering campaign. Kano State is an aggressive state in terms of politics, of ideology. Kano State, we have our own way of approaches when you come to campaign. You must employ and use what you ginger your people. This is what we call political sloganeering. This is what we call political semantics and political rhetorics. And you cannot stop sloganeering in Kano politics. We have inherited this time immemorial. Asking people to vote for APC or we deal with them simply means what you can call shenanigans, political brouhaha, which we make simply to ginger our supporters, to let them feel that, oh, we are on ground and we will get it right. I never meant to intimidate. I never meant to threaten any of my voters. I'm a reasonable person. I have been in election processes for the past 32 years, and I have never used threat or intimidation to win my election.
As we wind down
but
quickly,
you cannot
Honorable,
take away political shenanigans. You cannot take away political brouhaha.
As we wind down,
Honorable, away political sloganeering in Nigeria's politics. Let me give you one example.
You made the point.
Let me give you one example. Let me give you one good example.
We're just 30 seconds away.
One good example.
Honorable,
one good example.
I need to actually wind down on the program. We are actually constricted by time.
One good example, please.
I know that the Electoral Act 2022 does not recognize shenanigans and brouhaha. In fact, if you look at Section 93, it says that a party, candidate, aspirant, or person or group of persons shall not directly or indirectly threaten any person with the use of force or violence during any political campaign in order to compel that person or any other person to support or refrain from supporting a political party or candidate. In fact, he goes on to prescribe the punishment, says maximum fine of 1 million naira or imprisonment for a term of 12 months. I just want you to answer yes or no. Can Nigerians take this as the threat from your party at large as well?
Nigerians should not take this as a threat. It's part of our political shenanigans and brouhaha. This is what we call the highlights of political democracy in Kano politics, and you cannot rule that out.
Well, Honorable Doguwa, we have to run now, but the choice is for the electorate to make, especially when they hear things like this. But we'd like to thank you so much for your time on the program. We'll be speaking with Honorable Alassane Doguwa, who is a majority leader in the House of Representatives. Thank you again for your time.